one of the things I used to be really surprised by and a bit shocked by, well, not anymore, but is this ability we seem to have to think things which are in every way completely unacceptable. You know, it's really easy, once you get the hang of it, it's really easy to imagine yourself saying something which, if you actually said it, would get you into so much trouble. It would be racist, or it would be sexist, or it would be aggressive, or it would be just, you know, kind of inappropriate in some way. And it's perfectly easy actually to imagine yourself doing something, carrying out some action which breaks every possible taboo you can think of. The ease with which that facility presents itself is always a bit surprising. Well, it used to be very surprising to me, and I know it's surprising to some of my students as well, or has been. Sometimes when I work with young people on their on kind of creativity, really, I suppose, some of them are quite nervous, I think, about what comes out of their heads when their defences are down, or when they're allowed to think things which are a bit unspeakable and a bit unthinkable. It can be quite horrifying. And just the sheer fact that it's possible to think things inside your own head without any effort, you know, almost as if these ideas are thinking themselves once you open the gates. It's possible for those thoughts to emerge in your own head, which, if you saw them written down, or if you saw the image that they represent, or if you saw them in a movie, or even if you saw them kind of framed within an artwork or framed within a philosophy, you would still find them deeply, deeply offensive and campaign for their censorship or whatever, I think, in many cases. Quite remarkable, really. You know, we've all got this world of potential world, at least, of complete horror and complete abjection and embarrassment and exploitation and violence and sexual aggression and sexual perversity. You name it, really. We've all got that, I think, on tap. And that can be quite disturbing, I think. I mean, certainly not recently, but certainly in the past, I've found those ideas quite disturbing. You know, if I've had a particular image in my mind that I haven't been able to process in some way, and I found it recurring, or it's been intrusive in some way, that's been slightly worrying at times. Not very worrying. I've never doubted my sanity in that regard, which I suppose would be the logical conclusion of having an image recur in a way which is invasive. I think there's a Borges short story about something like that, actually. He's not talking about recurrent images of violence or repeated thoughts. I can't remember the story now, but it's this object, like a coin, I think it is, which has been in circulation in the world for thousands of years, but it has this unusual property of colonising the imagination. So once you've laid eyes on this coin, it consumes you, and you can't stop yourself coming back to it and thinking about it. And more of your time is taken up by this coin, until I guess eventually suicide is the only way out of it. And it's a very nightmarish image, that. The idea that a single focus, or even a focus that's out of your control, that you might lose control of your ability to move your thoughts around, but rather have them keep falling back into this gravity well of attention that you have no control over, particularly if that gravity well leads to horrors and the stuff of nightmares. Then that is itself a great nightmare, I think. Not only do we, whoever it is, have the capacity to think of horrors, but perhaps the worst horror we can think of is being inescapably drawn to and fixated upon the capacity within our own imaginations to dwell in these horrors and in these inappropriatenesses and in these embarrassments